Hello, everyone. Here we are again at the Global Employment Summit, and I'm with Anders here from a very special place close to my heart from Europe, where I am from. And I'm really, really happy. I was so looking forward to our interview because he is doing something very special, and I'm supporting artists as an artist by heart. And I know that there was some very difficult period, especially for dancers, and I believe it's also the same for everyone who is in, for example, like Anders, in jewelry or anything that you made by hand, and it's kind of like something that people has to feel, has to try on, they have to experience it to buy it. So I'm really, really excited to have him in the studio and support his brand, which is, just as I got to know, it's CPH Attitude, arriving from Copenhagen. So hi, Anders, how are you today?
Hi, thank you. I'm fine. How about you?
All good, all good. So let's go further and tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Anders? What are you doing? And what is CPH Attitude?
Well, I'm Anders, and I'm 48 years old. And last year I started my company, CPH Attitude. Yes, CPH is Copenhagen, and Attitude. Yeah, well, I think that says itself. And my jewelry company is a sustainable jewelry company who's built on the purpose, and the purpose is to say you are unique, to remind every people about the special talents and abilities that we have when we use our own talent. And the jewelry is based on I'll show you here on the repurpose or upcycling of beads and gemstones. And I got the idea last year when one day my wife came to me with some old jewelries and said to me, well, I have these jewelries and I don't wear them anymore because they're out of fashion. The design isn't something that I want to use today. But in fact, I think it's a pity to throw them out because the gemstones are very beautiful. So can you make anything with them? It was necklaces at that time. And I took the necklaces and I thought a while about it and said, why not try to make something new of them instead of just throwing them out? So I sat down in a while, and then I took a scissor and I cut them up, and I looked at the stone and think, what could you do with them? And then I got an idea and said, why not make some bracelets? So I began sitting down, making some patterns with the stones, and it turned out quite well, I thought. So I showed them on my Facebook profile and on Instagram, and then suddenly something happened because I got some real great feedback on that. Many people said to me, "Way, that's cool," and all the idea about the upcycling, the recycling thing was the thing that really turned people on. So they said, you should make a business out of this. So I thought about it for a while, and then the concept came to me because I have a son who has ADHD, and my wife is bipolar. So I thought about it for a while, and I said, the concept about gemstones, about things that are very unique. I look the same way at my family, and I think we all look at that way in ourselves. We think, well, we are special. You mentioned artists to start on, and we all have abilities and talents, but maybe sometimes you should look inside yourself. The society today is very straightforward. You know, it's very much we all go the same way. We do the same things. We have a career. We do this and that, and that's it. So then I thought about it, and I said to myself, well, we are all unique, and my jewelries are unique. So why not base my purpose on this? And that became to Seabed's attitude. That's a
So it's a beautiful story that you just told us, and it's powered by your own story and powered by your own relationship. And it's also coming from a unique place, because all these old jewelries that we have around, I remember everything is hanging around in my place. So basically they are just hanging around, and it's easy to reuse them, it's easy to recycle them, and you can still put it in a way which creates a totally new jewelry or accessory. So it's a beautiful idea. So let me explore this further. So how do people find you, and what are the comments that you got on the first place when they reached out to you after you posted about this on social media?
I have my own website. That's CPH Attitude, cphattitude.com. And I also got an account on Instagram and on YouTube. and I'm mostly active on Instagram, because Instagram is the platform when you are making design and jewelry. That's a place to be. And when you look at the comments that I got, and I got a lot of them on the Instagram, then people are very excited about two things. They're very excited about the fact that the stones are reused, recycled, and tell a story because someone else wear them before I or anyone else did. And then, of course, if not, if I'm not making a design that people will like, then it doesn't matter, because today if you want to sell jewelry, you have to make a design that people want, or elsewhere it doesn't matter. So of course I looked at the design, and if I see where I am today and where I was 1 year ago, then I can see I evolved a bit, or quite a bit, in fact. So the design is recognizable today because I'm working a lot with colors, and I'm working with different materials. And I think in this process, I just at some place in this process, I just hit the button right. I find the right design that people like. And a part of my concept is that I'm also making customized jewelry for people. And my jewelry is telling a story. And the story part, the storytelling is in fact the part that really turned people on. The other day, for example, I made a jewelry for a guy who is a director in a large company, and they're working with sustainability in their production line. So he, at the moment, he's using a lot of his time and thinking, how can I turn my production sustainable? So I made him a bracelet called Mother Earth, where all the stones in the bracelet are symbolizing something about sustainability and the earth and good karma, taking care, thinking green, and yeah, you know, all the things that we are connecting with green thinking and sustainable thinking today. And when I posted this bracelet on Instagram, I got a huge amount of response on it, because a lot of people today are thinking much about these things. And you can say in some way that my jewelry is a little bit like when you got a tattoo. People that got a tattoo, they got it because it means something special to them. So they want to wear it close to their heart. But not all people think that tattoos are a great thing because you can't take them off again. So I think for many people, my bracelets do something of the same thing as a jewelry. It's a totem or a talisman they can wear, but they can also take it off again.
And it's so important today because we are a little bit lost. So we most of the time are searching for something that is something that we can catch, something tangible that we can really bring with ourselves, and it gives a little bit of security, and we feel a little bit better about it. The next question is, where do you search your items? Because when you produce these for people, do they bring the material, or you are just sourcing in markets, in antiquities? How do you search for the original material and the story behind it?
That's a good question. Mostly I search in market and second-hand places. Markets, I spend a lot of time in markets because that's a primary thing, place where I can find my stones. I also buy something on some of them on the internet. In Denmark, for example, we have a huge platform like eBay. It's just called DBA, and it's a very huge marketplace where you can buy everything secondhand. And I find a lot of stones there too. And then the Danish Red Cross have a chain of companies, of stores in Denmark, shops with secondhand clothes and jewelries, and I spend a lot of time there too. So in a way, you can see I'm fishing for stones and gemstones at the markets.
Do you ask them about the story behind the different species when you are purchasing the pearls?
Sorry, can I have that again?
So do you search for the story or ask for the story behind the jewelry if you can from the previous owner? How do you make it?
If I buy the stones secondhand on a market, of course I can't get the story because then who knows? The stones are being handed over to the shop, and it's pretty hard to find the story behind these stones. If the stones come from one of my customers who wants to have them repurposed, then it's quite another story. In fact, it would be fantastic if I knew the story behind every stone. I don't, but I think in the concept, for many people, just the fact that the stones has been worn before is quite fascinating for them. And of course, a lot of this is the thoughts about the sustainability and the upcycling thing. And we talk a lot about circularity these days, and everybody knows that we have to go down this road because we have a huge we use a lot of resources these days, and we know that the earth can't go on this way. So we have to think about how can we make a circuit for our products so we can reuse them. And I think things like gemstones is a good example on this because the stones are beautiful. That was my intention and my motivation for starting out with this, because when my wife first handed me some necklaces last year, I saw the stones and I think, well, these stones are beautiful. Why should they be thrown out? This is not garbage. This is in fact something very beautiful that has to be worn to be used again. And this story, when I tell this story, which I also do on my website, it touches people simply.
Love this story. It reminds me on the Monico. You remember, I don't know whether you know, but in Malaysia we have a brand called Monico, and it's repurposing old used kimonos and making from those stories a little description, like from which age this kimono is from and who could have been wearing it, and they're putting it into the bag of the Porsche or anything what they do. Like it can be a purse or it can be a little bag or anything else. It's very similar, the story behind it. You put something in it. It's really, really amazing.
I think storytelling is in fact the key driver for all of this. because people like the fact that the things are sustainable and it's circular and all these things, and we all want to be more sustainable in every way we can. But this also sometimes, it's becoming quite a bit too huge for people. It can be hard to relate to all these things, but the storytelling, everyone wants to be part of that. And as long as when you look back in times and fashion, then storytelling has always been a great part of fashion. So I think these things go quite well hand in hand, so to say.
And how do these stones or creating these jewelries are helping you as a person? Do they elevate you? Do they give you some free moments? Do they give you some flow experience? What do you experience? But you're creating these art pieces.
I love making the jewelries. I didn't know that because I spent most of my career in the media sector, in the media industry, as a commercial in the commercial part of the industry for many years, and I always knew that I was creative, but not this creative. But when I turned to this and I became self-employed with this, I felt a new energy that I hadn't had before, and I just knew when I started with this that this was the right thing for me. I think I searched it for many years, something that really could make a sense for me, and the concept behind this, the circularity, the sustainability, is quite much something that I can relate to. And then, of course, the purpose behind it all, you are unique. In fact, I think that's the most important thing to me, to spread the word, so to say. I think it's so important these days that we all, look inside ourselves and find what is special about me. Because if you look at social media, if you look at all the media industries today, we are so fascinated, or in fact, we hear about these, all things that matters is, to be a celebrity, to be rich, to be a star. And I look at my own, I have a teenage son, he is 19 years today. And when I look at him and the way that he uses media today and social medias, I think it's not that healthy, because we all, look at these very much the same way. And when we look at the media, we all hear these stories about you should have a career, it's all about earning a lot of money. And the success is become very materialistic. So I thought, I think it's pretty much, it's important that we not, become, what you say, blind to all this, but remember ourselves. I don't know if that gives sense to you, but I think the personal part in all this, that we look inside ourselves, because we are all unique. At first, when I told the story and I told it on social media, I said we are all unique. I could feel from the reaction that not everyone understood what I mean. I said, yeah, of course we are unique, but what do you mean by unique? I said, yeah, well, we are unique, but remember that every day. Remember, you have your own abilities, your own talent. Use that instead of just being totally, hypnotized by social media and by media and all. So that makes a lot of sense for me, and hopefully for others too. I know it do for my customers.
I really love the message behind, because just as you said, especially the young generations, they are looking up to idols who they don't even know, and they have friends who they don't have never ever met, because it's only through the social media, and maybe that's even not someone who is really like that in real life, and you will never know. And it's just coming more and more because of the digitalization, because of the deep fakes, because of all the filters, because of everything what is coming up in the future. So the message behind being unique is something that we should just repeat every single time. I believe in this too, and you resonate. This message what you have is resonating with me also very much, and I believe it will resonate with the audience too. So if we go further and exploring about the jewelry and sustainability, why do you think it's so important to rethink how we are gathering all the things, and getting things that we don't even need? We forget about them. They are just staying in the drawer. We don't even use them. So why is it so important to take care about this part?
Well, I think I think this year, to all people in the world, it must now be very visible that we have a problem, and it's in fact a huge problem, and it is created by ourselves. It is created by mankind. You see, the weather is acting terrible all places in the world, and I'm not a doomsday prophet. In no way I am, and I think there is hope for humanity. But on the other hand, we also have to do something to do this better than we do right now. And there's no doubt in my mind that consumption is a huge part of this, because we all consume, and we all, me too, I'm not different in that part. We all get a kick when we get something new. That's the way we are, and that's the way we built this society in many years. But we have to look at our consumption now, and we have to look at the way we are using our resources, and we have to do it better than we do right now. And one of the, for me to see, very obvious part of this is that we have to reuse things more than we do today. Of course, there are things that can't be reused, but in fact, a lot of the things that we use in our everyday can be used and reused and recycled. In the fashion industry, which you can see is the ball game for me right now. The fashion industry, you're talking about that in many years we had the fast fashion industry. And in the fast fashion industry, everything is about consumption, getting new things. The durability is not a problem, because you're buying yourself a new shirt in a few hours. So it doesn't matter whether the product is sustainable, and whether the product is made in a good quality to last. This is one of the main reasons why we have these problems today. So I think there's no doubt that in the future we will see that we have to have a greater responsibility in the way we use things. And I think most people can relate to this, but the industry has to show the way for us, to lead the way, because as a consumer, you and me and everybody else, we can't do much about it. Yeah, we can stop buying the things, but we can't make the changes from within the industry. That needs to be the industry itself. And I'm quite aware that I'm a very, very, very little part of this industry. So I can't save the world or change the world, but I think I can lead by an example. So if me and a lot others like me are doing this, then I think we can inspire people to make some changes in their everyday lives. At least that's my hope.
I love it. And it's actually coming back to the fact why we connected in the first place, because next year the whole summit will be about sustainability. And we already planning to have a fashion show, which is about sustainability, and give ideas for the people how they can recycle the items and how they can do something more sustainable with everything all over the wheel of life, even about our mindset, because that also has to be sustainable and changing and flexible in our world. And your work is just amazing. And I believe if anyone is watching this on replay, please just connect with Anders and ask his experience, how he built this jewelry business, what was the idea behind, because we can learn from each other, right? I believe he also went through pros and cons, positive and negative experiences when you started your business. So what were the biggest hindrances before you started the jewelry production, and what was your biggest positive feedback that made you go further and do it more and more and more?
Well, when I first started this thing, I didn't, to be honest, I didn't think about the sustainability issue. I just started because for many years when I was in the media industry, I felt inside my heart that I needed to do something else, and I needed a purpose for myself. I was in the industry for a lot of years, and I really, yeah, well, I needed fresh air, so to say. Um, and then my wife, as I said, came to me with the jewelries and said, "Can you do something about these things?" Uh, and then it came to me. It's a little bit difficult to tell you what happened inside me, but I just felt it in my heart. The idea came, and a part of this about being or living more sustainable also is in fact caused by the way I'm living now, because now I'm an entrepreneur. I don't at the moment make a lot of money on making these jewelries, because I'm in the start phase. I'm a startup. So I have to look at my own consumption with another set of eyes than I did for many years. So I'm living in a small apartment. I have a small car, and I don't use money unless it's necessary, because I use all of my money at the moment to build this business. But this also started something in me about the mindset of being sustainable, because I realized that, hey, all these materialistic things, all these things that I had in the past, a lot of these things I really didn't need it to have a great life. Now I have my business, I have my purpose, you are unique, that I'm working on, and that makes so much sense to me. But driving a big car or having a bigger house or taking on three different vacations every year, that doesn't mean the same thing to me as a debt. And in this process, I also realized, hey, that's something that this is also attached to the sustainable thinking, because does it hurt to be sustainable? No. It's a new and it's another mindset, but it doesn't hurt, and you can be quite as happy, or you can be more happy if you do what is in your heart, the thing that the things that make great sense to you.
I loved all the points, and I loved your introduction about your story, how you made it happen for yourself, and how you took the personal struggle and how you created your purpose, and just going with the flow and trying to make it happen. And in the same time, you are supporting the environment by being sustainable and also encouraging others to be so, because the biggest thing here is, I believe, what you said earlier, that you became a role model for many other people by doing this. Maybe they will get the same idea and they will follow you in this purpose, and that's when the magic starts, because you will change some people, and then step by step, or as one of my friends said, project by project, we are changing the world, right?
Exactly.
So really thank you very much for this short little interview. I have to keep you muted because the system is echoing, but I'm really thankful for you being here and telling us your story. Please, guys, if you are rewatching this, you can check CPH Attitude on Instagram, and you can also search for Anders Joel Rasmussen on LinkedIn, because he is there, and you can connect with him and ask questions, or just find out whether you have some jewelry that you would like Anders to reform or reorganize for you so that you can still use them. And let's say for the last message, what would you say to the young and the wise so that they can be sustainable together?
Well, I'd say this is not about stop living or stop doing the activities that you do today. That's not the message. But think a little bit more about how you consume things. I think for most young people, it will be hugely a question about how you're thinking fashion, for example. Is it really necessary to buy a new shirt or a new pair of trousers every day or every second day? And try to look at the second-hand market, because there is a lot of really cool things out there. As I told, I'm visiting market and second-hand stores to find my jewelry, but I also buy my clothes second-hand. And it's not because that I wear old, very used clothes. I find very cool stuff at these markets, and I think in Denmark it's a trend right now about youngsters that when I go to these stores driven by Red Cross, most of the customers are youngsters. That's young people, the same age as my son. And I think it's a lot about mentality. Try to think a little bit more sustainable, a little bit more about, do I really need these things? That must be my best advice.
Thank you very much, Anders. Have a beautiful day for you in Copenhagen, and we will revisit your Instagram account, and I will support you any way I can so that you can get a little bit more view. And yeah, good luck in your ventures, and thank you very much for today's interview.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Goodbye.